telling me that people are reading it already and they've received it in the mail.
Do they love it? I'm sure they love it. No?
Well, yes, some persons have already said they love it. So yes, that's the truth of it.
Cool, very good. Thank you. So thank you, Larry, to be on the show. And well, let's kick it in then. So Larry Smith, you are a professor of economics and you work on the University of Waterloo, Canada, right?
That's correct.
And I did a master in economics, and I believe that if I had you as a professor, I wouldn't have hated my studies, basically, because I really, when I did my degree in France, I really didn't like it at all. But I love you as a person because you have such humor, charisma. I've seen your TED Talk, and this is why you're here. Why your TED Talk was why you will fail to have a great career. And I think it has 12 million views on YouTube. So you're quite famous as a professor, right? So you're very, very entertaining. And we wanted to have you on this show because we would like to understand what's going on in this world. You know, it seems that the economy is, I don't know, is it going in the toilet? I'm not sure, Tim. Are we going okay with economy in Florida right now? What do you think?
Well, I think once you finally got economy right. Well, I don't know what you're talking about before with economics or whatever it was you started with, but is the economy tanking? I don't know. You're probably better asking. You could pull up a gator, a 4-foot gator, and ask them how the economy is doing, and it would probably have more idea than I have. So I'll let Larry answer that question. He's probably got more clue than I have, even though he lives in Canada.
Yeah.
So.
It's a dangerous question to ask an economist because actually I have like 5 or 6 million words about it. But let me just...
That's fantastic. We don't need to speak again. That's
okay,
great.
go on for 2 hours.
But just let me give an overview. In the first place, it's a global economy, and so Canada's part of the mix. We're right beside the United States. I will worry about the U.S. economy as much as I do Canada's because they're so closely connected. But indeed, the economy of the United States is affected by what's going on in China and Europe, Latin America, and so forth. So really, we do have a global economy. I know it's a buzzword, but we really do have such a thing. And the global economy is growing slowly. It's either growing slowly in general, or it's doing really poorly. That would be some countries in Europe. The United States has had a burst of economic activity, but it's a burst of activity after a long period of the economy producing relatively low growth. The Canadian economy is like Canada usually is, okay. We're an okay country. We don't do spectacular, but we don't do disaster either. We just trundle along.
Like World Wars.
Well, yes, there are some exceptions. But the truth is, we're in a period of extreme economic uncertainty.
Right.
And that's not a prediction of disaster. There's a difference between saying the economy is slow or at risk. I'm telling you, the issue is highly uncertain. There's no chance of a boom coming. So we're either going to have slow growth or really, really slow growth, or maybe no growth. I'm talking about 5 years, roughly is the time frame we have in front of us. And it's why I am and always have been obsessed with career. I'm really sorry that you didn't enjoy your economics. I presume because it was not well taught. The subject is so interesting, at least to me, and I always try to help people understand why it should be interesting to them.
Right.
Because you can use these ideas to understand the world around you. And so I've done career counseling at the same time I've always taught my classes. And I've been doing this for 30 years. And for 30 years, competitive pressures have kept rising. That really is the story about the economy. Of course, it's growing more slowly. Things are getting way more competitive. Everything's getting more complicated. There is more technology to torture us all. So you will not find an economist who is not an idiot anywhere on the planet who's going to tell you that competition is going to decline. The only question is how much more competitive is the world going to get? How much more intense is the competition? And of course, competition produces rapid change, it produces disruptions, it produces bumping and grinding, it produces more inequality. This is not necessarily good stuff happening, but it's highly stressful.
Yeah.
And it is, and one of my specializations is entrepreneurship. I specialize that in labor market. And I watch the labor markets tighten steadily. That is what, of course, led me to to my work. It led to the TED video. The TED video is why you can fail to have a great career. I wouldn't have done those remarks 20 years ago because it would not have been so risky to have a career that was successful. Now it is.
But
I'm not going to do the TED video again, but
no, please no.
That arose out of the competitive pressure, and that's why I wrote the book, No Fears, No Excuses.
So that's your new book? This is your new book, No Fear, No Excuses?
This is the new book that's available in 5 languages, which is Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Korean, and English.
No French? God.
No, you tell me where the French publisher is. My agents are trying to...
My French agent, my book was published in France.
Really?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
One copy? That's it? No?
It was published in France. I should put you in touch because you are way more intelligent than I am. If I can get a book published in France, then it's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Well, Tim, I'll take any leads you have. But if you got published and I did not, let's not argue about who's smarter.
No, you're definitely smarter than Tim. Really, definitely smarter. So.
Well, who am I to argue that I'm outvoted?
Tim, by the way, we cannot hear you. By the way, Tim, there's something that's going on with...
Is that better?
I think it's better.
I can hear you.
Yeah, no, we're not arguing. No, we're definitely not arguing. Who's smarter? You're definitely smarter. The point I was trying to make was, if I can get published in France, then it's ludicrous that you can't get published in France when you actually have something important to say, and I just ramble a lot. You know?
It does.
I'll pass that on to my agent.
Yeah. So this guy rambles a lot. Why does he get published in France?
That's okay. So let's go back to this book. Actually, so what is the core of the book? What is the message of this book? What are you trying to?
No Fears, No Excuses. It does 2 things. The TED video made the argument that unless you're pursuing your passion, you're going to fail to have a great career, and that excuses and fears stop people from doing things. As a result of the video, as you said, millions of views, I got hundreds and hundreds of messages. And I answer them briefly, because that's all I can do. And after answering hundreds of them, when the publisher suggested a book, my first response was no. My second response was yes, because I'm writing it anyway. And I was. Because people were asking serious questions. That was beyond, okay, now I'm going to take action, what to do. So nobody should believe that passion is the only thing that creates a great career. It's one of those things which is an essential condition, a necessary condition, but not sufficient. So the rest of the book talks about the other things you have to do. You have to be an innovator. You have to market yourself. You have to do research. There's no get rich quick, no get rich fast, no success fast, no college pep talks. I'm not a cheerleader. I don't wear pom-poms.
Oh,
come on, Larry. You should have done that. Come on.
Please pour some pom-poms on Larry.
Publicity, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But that was important. Too many times when you're especially talking to someone young, although the book applies to anybody doing a new career, so second career, third career, it doesn't matter. But too many people just, when trying to encourage someone doing a change, just talk about the good stuff, the positive stuff. They don't actually point out it's hard work. And when I do, including to the young, I have been accused, for example, of being discouraging. Well, I don't know how being truthful to a young person is going to disadvantage them. Glibly saying everything's okay when it isn't, or will be okay if you just, the old stuff that if I really, really wanted to do it, I'll succeed. I believe in myself. Yeah. I'm glad you believe in yourself. You stand in front of a bus, you'll be flattened while believing in yourself. So I want people to do their homework, do it seriously, understand how difficult it is, and succeed because they work around the difficulties, not because they ignore them. And I'm certainly not going to avoid warning them of those dangers. I am notorious in my class for bellowing at the class, warning, warning, danger, danger. I'm the old guy. It's my job to warn the young. Here be dragons.
Say danger, danger, Will Robinson.
No, danger, danger.
That's an in-joke for people who are over the age of 50.
I didn't get it at all, so it means something.
It's a TV program called Space, something Space, and it was always this robot going around, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger, and
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Thank you.
I'm an old guy. I remember Lost in Space.
Thank you.
I haven't watched it.
Mine is trademark though. Warning, warning, danger, danger.
Oh, that's your stuff.
Yeah.
We are talking about the young generation and these guys coming to the market. They're coming to the wanted to have a job there. Do you think that this generation it's harder for them? They have the bad deal here. Is it more difficult for them to get that, or what do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This, the old cliche where the parent says to the young person, "You but great, not like when I was a kid." That's wrong. This has never been a more difficult time to get established in one's career. Never.
No.
So parents should be so glad that they pursued their careers in a more gentle economy. It's more unforgiving. Make one mistake, and you can put yourself back 5 years.
Yeah.
Be 17 and pay no attention at high school.
Yeah.
And your whole life can careen out of control. That would not have been true 20 years ago, for example.
Or have a picture of yourself fucking a barnyard animal on Facebook, and you're screwed.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes.
Yeah. It's like before that would never. Well, when I was a kid, that wasn't an opportunity. It was just like, whoa! Look,
can you tell us some stories, Tim, about what happened as a kid? What did you do? No, anyway, no, I don't want to know.
God knows we'll get X-rated. But the truth, your point is still stands. It's easier to screw up. Like it's never been easier to make a mistake, which is difficult to recover from, and that's only one example. Just pick the wrong university program. Education is expensive. So I have students who get trapped. Like, they're 4 years into a program. They tell me they hate it.
Yeah.
I have to say you're going to have a miserable life if you already hate it. You're going to hate it worse if you pursue that career for another 5 years. But then they utter those fateful words, but I've got too much invested. I can't change now.
Yeah.
So it traps them. They're trapped in that past decision. Of course, I will shout at them. And Olivier remembers sunk cost, right, from your education.
Maybe. Now by the way, Larry, I'm working in HR now. I'm so far from economics.
It's traumatic.
They taught you sunk cost in France. It's no difference in France. So that's no excuse. And it's this argument that when people incur a cost, and it has no value to them anymore, they won't give it up. They won't recognize it. Okay, that was a mistake. So 4 years, I will just say to myself, I was a mistake. I'm going to do something different. They don't do it. And then when they're 30, then they have to start again because now they really can't stand it. Now they've wasted maybe 10 years. And those are like real issues. And I ask young and old to confront the fact that you've got to be careful. That's why you do your homework. That's why you don't pick a program with like one weekend's worth of reading a university, advertisement kind of thing, or listening to some casual friend. So many ways to make mistakes. Years ago, you could have just recovered faster. Now you can't. So I want everyone to choose more wisely. And if you don't choose wisely, you also need strategies to recover because people can recover. I've watched people reinvent themselves at 40. And do it successfully.
And 50.
50?
No, you're screwed. No.
Look, I'm an old guy. I'm becoming an author when I should be a retired senior citizen.
But this is one question for you, Larry, because, when I was 22, just after my degree, I didn't have any clue what I wanted to do. It was like I did my economics because this is what, yeah, I will do that, and with life, with experience, I did many jobs. I had many different careers, if you want. I was in IT, and then I'm in HR. So it wasn't like a one line. I could basically capitalize from the experience of different jobs and evolve, basically. So, but what you say here, if I understand correctly, is you don't need, you shouldn't do any mistakes. You have to choose wisely from the very, very beginning, because otherwise it will be difficult for you to change. Is it what you say?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, I don't like to say it. Like I don't like saying to someone young, 22, to have to say that so emphatically. But it's true. So they've got to recognize it's true, make those decisions more carefully. And at the same time, because one of the things about the TED video was so interesting was I got messages from the entire age range. I got high school students, a lot of university, college students, but I had messages from people 50, 60, people who were in their mid 60s. And they all wanted to ask different questions about career. And some of the older people who had made a mistake had decided that they were not going to die with their dreams unrealized, and that they were going to redouble their efforts. And that's doable, again, with strategy, not carelessly, and certainly not by the older person saying, it's my time and the world owes me a second chance. It does not.
Did they go like this? Did they go?
Sorry, Tim, it's just not working. No. You got to earn it. Young or old, you have to earn it, and you earn it. And you earn it by being crafty, by plotting and scheming and being careful. So, for example, a younger person. So what would I've said to Olivier when he was 22? And, of course, I was already in my classroom when you were 22, which annoys me mightily. I would have said, look, man, if you're not sure what you want to do, here's two things. Choose a degree that has breadth and use it to explore what you are interested in. Nothing wrong with doing that. You don't have to be 22 and know what you want. But then make your plans based on that, which is to say, I'm going to explore what I'm interested in and do it as efficiently as I possibly can. You heard the word efficiency, too, in your econ classes,
Absolutely.
By the way. Yes, exactly. See, he's finally agreeing with me. He's remembered something. No, but seriously. And so I would tell you that. I would also give you some suggestions, which oddly enough happen to be in the book, about how to search for your passion. I could well believe a young person hasn't found it yet. There are only 4,332,000 things you could be fascinated by. And if you're 20, you know about 4 of them. And so why would you automatically know your passion? So I would advise you to do it methodically. So I have conversations like this in my office. Young person, man or woman, what are you interested in? I don't know. I will say you can't be 20 and not have any interest at all. You want to start with something, right? Start from not zero. So, and then I get this like totally gender stereotypical. I feel like I'm at 1950 or something, and I'll get the same comment now. If it's a male I'm talking to and he's 20 and I'm pressing on, you must be interested in something.
Alcohol.
He will invariably say sports. Sports. He'll say sports. And of course, it's the false, stupid answer. So I will say, and what team are you playing on? No, not a team. Oh, you're a coach. Manager. No. Are you enrolled in a sports sports medicine or sports rec? We've got leisure rec studies. No. He's interested in sports and watches it. That's it. That's his whole contribution. Of course, Larry will shout at this stage of the game. Women, by the way, on the intellectual food chain are one step up. Now, only one step up, because they still give the default answer. So if I ask one of my female students, what are you interested in? You've got to be interested in something. They having said they didn't know what they were interested in. Then they will say, which is the woman's default answer, well, I really like helping people.
Oh God, that's the life coach's answer.
I would have said that as well, Does that mean that I have a gender thing, But
But then you see, that's nothing wrong with the answer. But what happens is when I ask the next question of the 20-year-old. So, how are you helping people? Are you a hospital volunteer? We'll go through a whole long list of ways you could be taking action on what you just told me you were interested in. And I want to know what you take action on. And very frequently, the woman's answer is she's a waitress on the weekend in a restaurant, which doesn't qualify as a definition of.
Which is helping the football team just after the restaurant closes. But,
I'm
but
making no comment on.
go into that. I won't go into that.
No, I'm not making any comment on that, Tim. Thank you.
Okay.
But like, these are serious issues, and you have to work to define your interest. That this absurd belief people have that their passion will come hit them on the head like a bolt of lightning is absurd. There was Tim, who likes old stuff, if he can remember Lost in Space and robbing this robot. I don't know did you ever see a movie called The Last Starfighter? It was a dreadful movie from like.
I don't think I did, but maybe you can jog my memory. But
The Last Starfighter. It was a bad movie, but but what was interesting was its advertising line. You know, the tagline to pitch the movie. It's of course a young person who's recruited to save the planet. You know, the same old story that we've had for like 400 times. Anyways, with respect to the young man who's now going to be the last starfighter, this was the advertising slogan. He didn't find his destiny. Destiny found him. And that's what people actually believe, that they will somehow their destiny is going to chase them down the street, grab them by the throat and say, yo, let us get united here. Yes, let's dance. Bogus. You got to look for it, and you got to look hard. You got to read things. I will insist my students read, Olivier. Not Tim, not just watch videos, he said while looking at a video. No, but
I've got a book.
Yes, a book. Come on, in French, So,
look, we ask them to look at wherever there's information that would be useful to them, but to look in many places.
I have a question for you, and this is, I'm living in Paris, in France, okay? And if you ask my generation, the previous generation, the younger generation, what do they want to do? I believe 70% that they will tell you that they want to become public servant. They want to not to have a career, they just want to have job security and work in the public sector, right? To be a government agent or something like that. Right, so this is what they want to do in France. They have no intention to launch something, to go after their passion. They just want job security. This is what they want. So, what do you say to this young generation in France here?
Well, I am familiar with that statistic. My other specialization is entrepreneurship, and so we look at the attitudes of young people around the world. It is to weep. Well, it is. I'm a history buff. I'm a history minor, and one of my specializations was French history. And of course, New France was part of Canada, so there is a logical connection. Yeah. The original colonization of Canada begins with France. And in fact, I live near where one of the earliest French explorers in the 1600s navigated down the St. Lawrence River. And given the influence that France has had culturally, scientifically, in a whole bunch of ways for much of its history, it is to lament that young persons in France now view public service as their highest calling. I'm a former public servant, by the way, with the government of Canada. I have no objection to the honorable calling of being a public servant, but not 70% of the population. That is, and if I thought 70% of the population really wanted to serve the public, then I might decide that France was a paradise of the most informed citizenry.
It is. It's perfect.
Oh, I didn't notice that, actually.
I went there once, actually, and I got screwed over by buying a piece of beef, and it wasn't a paradise.
I know, and it's not a paradise. But don't you?
Well, but
Yeah.
it this. So what I would say to them is really straightforward. The truth is, and I really am a fan of the truth, and somehow I think the truth keeps us on solid ground, independent of whether someone likes the conclusion or not. I would say to that young French person, and by the way, my students have been in France having heated dialogues, by the way, with students in France. I would say, look, tell me why you want to be a public servant. And if you use the word security, I will shout at you. So now you can't say security.
Say
you cannot
shoot.
tell me
Say
this.
shoot. You got to come on, Larry. You've got to be a little bit more aggressive now. Not shout at you. I will shoot you.
Oh,
I know you're not American, but you've got to be a bit more. If you say that, I will shoot you. I will pull out a Colt 45 and I will shoot you. I think that's more. It's got more sort of dimension to it. More sort of it has more of an impact.
That's okay.
Shout out. My wife shouts at me every night, But I mean, if she shoots me every night, I'm going to listen,
Olivier,
Yeah, tell me.
if I did not know better, I would think Tim was in America. Would you think that?
I think he's in Florida. Can you imagine that?
Yes. Oh, so we are going to shoot my students.
Yeah, bear in mind, I'm English, so I'm just like adopting the local protocol, and it is, if in doubt. Listen, we have a state where there was a headline: "Woman kills man with squirrel," and that actually happened, and it was basically a ceramic squirrel where a woman stabbed her husband through the heart with it because on Christmas Eve she sent him out for more beer and he couldn't find a store that was open, and she came back. He wasn't very happy, so she attacked him with a ceramic squirrel and killed him.
Thank you for the contribution, Tim. That's perfect. Yeah. That's a great story. Thank you. We were trying to solve the problem that France has. You have absolutely no pity for the young French people who wants to become public servant. I want the answer from Larry here.
I'm going to stab you with a squirrel. Okay, let's carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say with shouting, by the way, is don't use the word security and tell me why you want to be a public servant. And we all know that when they can't say security, they go silent. No, I take that back. 90 in 100 will go silent. 10 of them will actually be able to provide a coherent reason why public service is honorable calling. And then they should be, in fact, public servants, because that's the right kind of public servant to have. The others are time servers. We both know that. And, of course, they're not going to succeed. For the French government cannot possibly hire 70% of young French.
No,
having trouble hiring people it needs as it is.
It's a liberal country, but do you believe that in terms of security, you're talking about security. I mean, security is a word that doesn't exist in nature. It doesn't exist in life. There's no such thing as security. We all get sick. We all get bankrupt. Well, not we all get bankrupt. We all get sick, and we all die. Most people will go through financial crisis through that. So I think security to me is a conundrum, and it's almost like a false value where people chase this. Security and stability are the two things that we can't ever predict will land in our lap no matter what happens. Would you agree with that, or am I going to look foolish now by asking that question?
I emphatically agree. It is like chasing an illusion. Doesn't exist. You win your keep every day. And again, that's also different, because years ago, at least with respect to careers, you would start with an employer and work with them until you retired or died.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the old model. True in much of Europe, true in much of North America. It's dead. That idea is dead in North America now, and it's going to die a possibly slower death. But that's not going to survive in Europe either. It's just in a global economy, it just doesn't work. No matter how much you want to protest that it isn't suitable. And again, I'm describing the world as I see it. I'm not describing my ideal world. That's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
The ideal world's a different argument entirely. This is the world we have. I have a student in front of me. I have to tell him or her what will work, and independent of whether it's the world either of us likes. Yes. But the ones who want to change the world, I will encourage them to do that as well. Yeah, sure, why not, Olivier? Why not? Again, I will shout at them to be practical and have a plan. By the way, good intentions to save the world aren't enough to escape the dictates of practicality, innovation, and focus, right? So I cut slack to no one. I want plans. I want it rational. But in the here and the now, it's an unforgiving world. And security is the only way you're going to be secure is by being a highly valued person. So if your present employer doesn't want you, there'll be somebody else who does. That's the only angle.
What's your take on the? Everyone has now a master's degree, right? So do you think it's something which is really valuable now to have? To have this master's degree, because there's so much free education now. You have Coursera, this web portal where you can, grab knowledge, and the knowledge is changing every year. You need to update yourself. So how much is the security, actually? We're talking about security, but how much do you need to have a master's degree now in order to have a career or a good job? What do you think?
Well, the answer is, it's a complex situation. For one thing, we have degree inflation.
Yeah.
So now, around the world, people are adding credentials. Competitive pressures rise. What to do? I don't know what to do. Competitive pressures are rising. Life is tough. I'll get another degree.
Yeah.
It allows me to stay in school longer. And now I have 2 credentials. I have to cope with students who they get the second degree, but then they still see competitive pressures. Then they add a professional designation. So no, they do. So now I will get a undergraduate degree, then I've got a master's degree, then I've got a professional certification. Maybe I'll become an actuary. Maybe I'll become an accountant. And we got programs that will now combine engineering and MBA programs. Yeah. We got lawyers who also get MBAs. My goodness, we're adding up professional designations to sink a ship. Now, at one level, some of those are useful. There's actually some combinations that are, in fact, useful. That's why you simply can't say don't do it at all. I'm an old prof, right? I need students to pay my salary. So I'm not going to say don't abandon education. But again, seriously, if you educate yourself to be excellent at the thing you care about, and if that means 2 degrees, you get them. If it means a PhD, you go get it. You develop the skill you need to pursue the passion that really drives you, and then be highly productive at it. And for some people, 1 degree is enough. For other persons, Canada has a system of both degrees, and our universities give degrees, our colleges give certificates, diplomas, and applied degrees. So it simply doesn't matter. You may need a degree. You need post-secondary education. In the industry world today, you need post-secondary education, or you cannot work anywhere, except possibly dig a hole somewhere in the ground and bury your hopes. I'm sorry, this is what it amounts to. But my comment about how much education you should get, as much as you need to pursue your passion effectively. I mean, it's a real answer.
Okay.
And except parents just say, stay in school. It's better to stay in school than be on the street. Not necessarily. Well, I don't mean homeless, but I mean maybe you do need a year's experience before you clarify your interest. But education is about one of 2 things: getting the skills you need to pursue your passion, or using your education to explore your interest and find it. But totally legit. We have students here who are trying to understand their interests by exploring different areas of intellectual endeavor. I salute them. Some of those are smarter than some other students who just mindlessly pick something, put their head down, work, and wake up when they're 39 with an ulcer. Or die in their sleep because they have a heart attack when they're 50. I mean, sorry.
Oh, my God. I'm 53 and I had this pain in my chest yet last night. No, don't say that.
Okay, I can call 911 from here, Tim. If
No, no, let him
Olivia can't, but
no,
I
let
can
him
send
die.
Let
her
him
I can
die.
Let
send
him
her
die.
paramedics to Florida.
Let him die. He doesn't deserve to live, to be honest. You know,
Okay.
it's okay. But
Yeah.
I,
But again, these are important issues. Like I think from everyone's point of view, we use education wisely, use it effectively. One of my students was positively brilliant. There's a tuition charge in Canada to do university degrees, and this guy, I met him in Toronto. Just I bumped into him, and he said hello to me and asked him what he was doing. And he told me he was pursuing a degree in engineering in a university in Eastern Canada, not at Waterloo. And but he had taken an economics class from me, which is why he said hello. And I said I wished him well in Eastern Canada in his program. And he said, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. And then he said to me, my class usually is about 10% of the students in my class aren't enrolled. They just attend the class to learn economics. I know that's a bizarre thought, Olivier, but they do.
I know.
And he said I refer to these as my unpaid customers because, of course, they're not paying tuition. So he said to me, I was one of your unpaid customers. I said, well, I said, you were welcome. It's your choice. And he said, well, when I graduated from high school, I hadn't a clue what I wanted to do. So I attended the University of Waterloo for one whole year, attending classes, like not just a sample class. He attended the whole term. So he'd really understand what different subjects were about. So he attended a whole year's worth of programs at no cost to himself. He happened to be living in the community, so at no cost to himself. He explored all these different courses. No constraints, of course, because he doesn't sit exams. So the prerequisites, the requirements you have to take one course over another, he ignored them because he could. He was brilliant. That was a smart move to explore what the universities had to offer. He found what he found fascinating, and he happened to choose another university to do that. But that was fine. He used Waterloo to explore his interests aggressively. See, I'll bet on him having a great career because he's proceeding very methodically and creatively. I get the privilege to work with a lot of really great people over the years.
That's great.
Occasionally, I still have to shout at them, though, because
I'm sure you still shout at them, If you had Tim in your class, you would have shouted him like all day because he would have been.
I have a feeling I would have actually.
Exactly, But I would have loved to have you as a professor, as I said. You are the kind of professor that cares, actually. It seems that you really care about this young generation, about your students, So that's really something that transpires.
Well, I'm afraid what you see is what you get. I am privileged to pursue my own passion, and that's teaching. I knew I wanted to teach when I was a little kid. You see, for me, finding my passion was ridiculously easy. I had to go to school when I was, 5, 6. There's no choice. I had to, and I got there, and I thought, this is horrible. No, I remember. I remember. She's going to a reward now, but I hated my kindergarten teacher. I remember what she looked like, and she stomped on my creativity when I was in was in most junior grade. We were asked to fill in, one of these drawings, these pre-printed drawings where the kid has to color it in, right? And it was a duck. And I decided it was a duck. I remember this. It was traumatic. Olivier's laughing at my traumatic.
No, it's Steve who's laughing. I'm sympathizing with you.
I think we should laugh. It was a duck. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, he looks like he's laughing rather than sympathizing. In any event, there was my duck. And I decided the goofy teacher had said beforehand in the class, and Larry was actually listening, that Easter was coming, and that yellow and purple were traditional Easter colors. Don't ask me why she was telling me that, lunatic. Why would you tell a 6-year-old that? And I thought, well, it's a duck. It's almost Easter. I made my duck with a yellow body and purple wings. And you know what she did?
No, tell me.
No.
She criticized me.
No fucking way.
She said a duck doesn't look like that.
Shit.
I'm 6. I'm being creative.
Fuck.
Yeah, well,
We
that was
should-
my reaction. I didn't know the word at the
Yeah,
time,
exactly.
Yeah.
but I think now. And I'm not being funny. That actually happened. I don't have to. I don't have to make up stuff. I'm old enough.
No,
I
yeah.
really have crazy stories. And as I moved through elementary school, I hated it virtually all the time. I would sit in the class. I mean, I was an obnoxious student, by the way, thinking that the teachers could have done it so much better. They were boring me.
Right.
And you see, I actually thought learning things was interesting. If I read a book, I would think, oh, this is interesting. And they didn't understand. And now with, more experience in teaching, I was right. They were bad teachers. I'm sorry, they're all gone now. So
They're all
I'm
dead.
speaking ill.
This is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All dead.
Yeah.
I'm speaking ill. They are dead. I'm speaking ill of the dead. But the truth is, it doesn't change the fact that might have been nice people, but they really couldn't teach their way out of a paper bag. But that means by the time I'm still in elementary school, 12, 13, I knew what I was going to do. I was home. And the advantage it gives a kid to be that sure he knows what his life's work is, I've always felt privileged because I know most people don't have that unique experience. You see, I found my passion because I bumped into it, because I couldn't avoid it, because I had to go to school. And I hated it, which ironically enough might make me a tolerable teacher.
You're lucky.
Anyways,
Yeah, no,
I knew what I wanted to do.
it's a great story. But for most of us, except my dad was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. And the first thing that he told me is, never do this. Please never go into teaching, And I had lots of peer pressure and my parents' pressure to get these degrees, to have a master's degree, And that's how things work. It seems that we have all this peer pressure, and it's very difficult for us to free ourselves and to pursue this passion of us, because everyone around us will tell you, no, don't do it. You have to follow whatever trend or whatever direction has to be, set for you, something like that. So it's great that you did that, that you'll be able to free yourself,
But it was easy for me. And I understand how for other people it is much more difficult. I do not make light of that. Many of my students will struggle over fierce family pressure. They may identify what they want, and their family will resist them every step of the way. That's cutting off financial support, disowning them, not letting them stay at the family home, serious stuff. Maybe one of the reasons I'm so obsessed about, well, not maybe, actually, one of the reasons I'm so obsessed by career is because I know what it feels like to have a great career that I thoroughly enjoy. I don't have stress. I mean, I hear about work stress. I actually don't understand what work stress is. I understand what getting tired is.
Let me tell you.
Okay, Tim can
Oh,
explain.
Tim knows about work stress.
Yeah, he does that.
Not really, because I work for myself. So no, I love the work that I do. I think Olivier can tell you about work stress because he's gone through some serious work stress.
No, it happens a lot, actually. I work in this big corporation where you just have to work and work. And this is how it is. You have to deliver. So it's very, very present. But I think sorry.
In your present job.
In my present job, yeah.
There's this book I could recommend, Olivier, to help you get out of your difficulty.
Yeah, go on. Recommend the book.
Sorry, I actually believe nobody should have to be in a work stress environment. Yes, as I said, busy sometimes.
Do it. Recommend it.
Recommend your book, please.
Well, I feel like now I'm a sort of Canadian French rescue mission. But
let's save France. We have to save France. Come on.
Yeah, well, one person at a time is not a bad way to do something. But I'm actually serious. Life's too short.
I understand
not to love what you do.
I understand what you say.
But I don't make light of the obstacles other people face. It was easy for me. And of course, once you taste how sweet it is to not distinguish between Monday and Saturday, you
Yeah.
really, don't want to go back to anything other than that.
Yeah.
And you really don't want other people to be dreading Mondays or living for the weekends. Like 2 days out of 7 that you have a life, and the other 5 you just get by.
I agree. I agree. So what would that book be?
Sorry, I did not hear.
What would that book be?
Oh, what book is it? It's called No Fears, No Excuses, What You Need to Do to Have a Great Career. Published on April the 19th.
Sounds like a great book.
It's an
By
awesome
Howard
book.
Mifflin Harcourt in America. On Amazon by pre-ordering anywhere in the world.
Very good.
Well, thank you for asking, Tim.
So no, say it again, because I talked over you a little bit. So it was no excuses, no fears.
No fears, no excuses.
Excuses.
What you need to do to have a great career. By the crazy person from the TED video called Why You'll Fail to Have a Great Career.
Right.
On Amazon.
I have a last question for you, actually, Larry, before letting you go. I've just read there's a McKinsey who released a report about automation of jobs. And they said that currently there's lots of jobs that can be automatized with the current technology. And for instance, they said that the first job that can be at 75% automatized is truck driving. Truck drivers can be at 75%, we can automatize everything. They even said that a CEO can be automatized at 25%. So you can see this trend coming on that, look, basically robots or processes or everything can be basically now automated in the future. So what do we do? What's the advice there? What this young generation should pursue? Should they still go to their passion, or should they steer a little bit? Or what's the advice here?
Well, you see, from my perspective, you shouldn't ask questions like that, Olivier. It just sets me off. But that's
first, I'm trying to be smart here. Come on, give me some slack.
Trying is the operative word.
That's a trying thing. Yeah.
First, because that report is right. I mean, you quibble about the particular number. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
Technology is getting rid of jobs at an accelerating pace. Now, that's not new. It's been doing it for a long time, of course. I watched the School of Accountancy at the University of Waterloo change its curriculum twice because accounting software was getting so sophisticated. The profession had to change. Otherwise, there would be nobody would need an accountant, for example. So there's this radical disruption which is going on. And driverless vehicles, autonomous vehicles, that's all part of it. So absolutely, without any doubt, we're going to lose more jobs to technology. So what do I say? And we discussed this, right? Because technology is one of the sources of competitive pressure. Right. I get very agitated about this. And this is the point. Why do I ask people to pursue their passion? Not to make them happy. Like people should be happy. But this is not some touchy-feely, be happy, get in touch with your inner self, be true to yourself.
I like this one. I like that.
Well, I like Shakespeare too. To thy own self be true, and if all the day is night, thou cannot then be false to any man. Yes, that's wonderful, but I'm an economist, and I'm talking about whether you're going to work. The only way you're going to work remember, when I'm talking to someone 20, I must adopt a 50-year time horizon, right? I'm the old guy. I have to talk about the future that person's going to have half a century forward. Now, I'm not going to live to see his 50 years, but I still have to obsess about it. That's the only value out of the old guy, to tell the young person, this is what the future will be. Guard yourself and seek opportunities in this direction. So back to the passion thing. Passion is the answer to the dilemma that you present, Olivier. In my mind, it is in any event. Why? Because first, if you're passionate, there are only 2 skills that I will bet are in demand 50 years forward. Because that's how you should plan your career. I mean, I want a skill that will last. That also addresses Tim's point about security. There's no absolute security, But if you've got a marketable skill for the next 50 years, you at least have something to fight with. So there's only two skills that I will bet will be in demand 50 years from now. And if I'm wrong, Olivier, you can call me on it.
Is it life coaching? Is it one skill?
No, most certainly not.
Olivier, shut the fuck up and let him wrap this up.
No, it isn't. There are only two that might be skills. I want to talk about the will be for sure skills. Excuse me. One of which is to be an innovative problem solver. And I mean innovative. Look, the only thing that machinery can do, including AI, and of course, let's stay away from spooky machines, which now can be conscious. Like, let's stay beside of science fiction, of the technology we can imagine over the next half century. What that technology does is routine stuff. It does it brilliantly. That's why it can drive a car. That's why the artificial intelligence programs that run autonomous vehicles, they learn how to drive, just like a 16-year-old learns how to drive. It's not all that complicated a thing to do because it's rules of the road. You know, if there's a vehicle in front of you, don't run into it. Okay. That's routine. So the routine stuff is all going to be automated. A lot of law is going to be automated. A lot of math is automated. Anything that's routine, it can be elaborate routine like math. It can be elaborate like programming. So elaborate's not the issue. The routineness, the repetition of it is. Is it rule-based? Rule-based is going to be gobbled up by the machine. And the only thing left for humans is making up new rules, finding new solutions. So innovative problem solving. The second thing is advocacy. You can have brilliant ideas, Tim, but you have to be able to express them. So you need to be an advocate. Otherwise, your idea gets stuck between your ears. You can't persuade anyone else to try it. So yeah, you're innovative and useless from society's point of view. Now, if innovative problem solving is what you know will be in demand half century forward, and the ability to communicate those ideas in demand half a century forward. So Olivier, as a communicator, you'll still be okay. Not the life coaching part, because that's kind of squishy, but the communication part, which is what you're doing right now, is okay. You'll be okay. But both of those things require passion.
Cool.
You want to persuade somebody of something, you better have passion for the subject about which you are teaching. I have had some success as an econ prof. You don't really think students arrive in my classroom thinking, oh, econ, I'm so excited to take it. They sit in my class thinking, oh my God, I'm required to take economics. Yeah. My job is to communicate my passion.
Cool.
And then they will learn stuff, and I'll have a good time. Same with if you're going to actually create new solutions. Like, remember, the routine tweaking stuff will be done by the machinery. You're going to create really new solutions. You have to love what you're thinking about because it brings intensity of focus. Passion is essential to a high-level, innovative problem solving because it's a cliche, but it's a true one. I know it myself, which is the mind cannot stop thinking about that which it loves.
Cool. Very good.
And as you think about it, you start thinking, okay, well, that could be fixed that way. One of the tests I use with students when they're trying to find out whether they have an interest or a passion is a simple question. Okay, you're interested in some things. While you're thinking about those things that you find interesting, are you ever tempted to fix something? Or is it just sort of interesting? With the passion, you start thinking, that really could be done better. So if you're fascinated by movies, you know, the cliche, ask a young person, oh, I think I'll be a movie star. Okay, tell me the last movie you saw and tell me why the ending should have been better.
Right.
And I've got students who can do that. Now, you see, they should be in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Then the other guy who tells, oh, it was a perfect movie. Was it really? Avatar was perfect. Fine.
No,
then you be a consumer of movies. But you better not try to make them. Do you see the distinction? So you've noticed, you have wound me up, Olivier.
I can see that. And I can see the passion.
It is the heart of the matter. I have to say to someone young, you need your passion. You need it. for that pragmatic reason. Oh, by the way, and a bonus, it'll make you happy.
You know what? I believe, actually, I think you are a life coach, by the way, because you have a heart and you're asking the questions, and that's perfect. So I really like this passion.
You're a life coach.
You are a life coach, my
You're
friend.
a life. Yeah.
You are really.
You may
Thanks
slink in your seat.
But it's great.
I don't know. I think you've just put pom-poms on me again, but
Yeah, because life coaches ask questions that make people think.
I think
differently. The whole purpose of life coaching is to get people to think differently. And that's what you've done today, is you've got me to think differently about economics. You know, one of my heroes with economics, social economics, it was Dan Ariely. And because he got me to think differently about subjects that were pretty boring to me otherwise. And I think if you can do that, then you start coaching people, you start getting them to think differently, and that's the whole point of it. That's coaching doesn't exist unless you can't make people think differently. So thank you.
I actually accept that. That's fine. I prefer to think of I prefer to think I'm tormenting young people's minds to get them thinking.
Stop being so hard on yourself. You have a big heart. Come on.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that as well.
Oh yeah, you got to watch your reputation, Olivier.
So, I'm going to say torment people as well, but still be a coach. You know.
You're great. And I think, as I said at the very beginning, and now I'm more convinced, I think I would have loved my studies if you were my professor, right? So thank you for being on the show. It was great having you, and definitely we'll put a link on the book for the book. You know, making sure that you're. And even
He's got the book. Yeah. I never knew he got a book.
What was the book again?
No fears, no excuses. What you need to do is have a great career.
One more time. You mentioned it one more time. Come on. Give us the book one more time.
No fears, no excuses. What you need to do to have a great career. HMH, Amazon.
Okay.
Olivier, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much for this.
And for your kind words.
Absolutely. Thank you, my
Tim,
friend.
good to meet you.
Take care.
Good to meet you too. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Ciao, gentlemen.